What's up, everyone? In today's episode, we have some action-packed information to cover for tomorrow. Amazon and Apple just reported earnings, and they were both looking pretty bullish after the bell, but Apple just had a very strong reversal. So in today's video, we're going to go over some awesome setups for tomorrow, the big news that you need to know for tomorrow, and believe it or not, we also have some news with a new trading platform that might come to the market, and Elon Musk is involved. So stay with us. But with that being said, Tom, let's jump right into it.
Yeah, Mike, that trading platform is going to be extremely interesting, so stick around for that. But the first thing we have to talk about are these big earnings in the market here. So obviously, we've been waiting all week for these big boys to report today. Amazon, Apple, Coinbase, Square, DraftKings, and in after hours, they are flying all over the place. Apple, like you said, was moving up and then actually pulled back down. At first, it was doing pretty well, but that pullback was atrocious. Amazon doing very well here, but getting into Apple's earnings, I saw that they actually had fairly good numbers, Mike, and we were expecting a pretty bad drop. Now, overall, sales were down 1% year over year, so that's not very good. People were expecting a down quarter. We actually talked about this over the past couple videos, but I did see a lot of these numbers were down. You know, it wasn't good, like Mac revenue, iPhone revenue, but revenue overall beat, as we saw services do well, which includes like Apple TV Plus, Apple Music, and other things like that. So looks like right now, Mike, the numbers are, I guess you'd say, okay for Apple, but all that matters is the reaction. And right now, that reaction is definitely not what we were hoping for.
No doubt about that. And what's so interesting is that we saw a lot of analysts just kind of sandbag Apple going into this earnings release. Like, Apple's revenue is literally falling. Like, yeah, it's down 1% year over year, but when you account for inflation and, other stocks like Amazon that are seeing their sales rise by 11%, it's kind of worrying. So it's like, yay, Apple beat on expectations, but with revenue and their earnings per share. But at the end of the day, I am not too pleased with this report.
Yeah, me either. Like, you see that iPhone revenue came in under expectations. That's a terrible stat to see iPhone revenue down. Now, they did try to blame some stuff in China, stuff like that, and it makes sense, but still, at the end of the day, blame what you want. The number came in less. Same thing with Mac revenue, iPad revenue. Pretty bad to see all of those numbers just coming in the way that they did. And we know, Mike, Apple's like the biggest stock in the market. So looking at the SPY and after hours here, it's we had that good move up at first, but now we're starting to trend back down. I'm hoping Amazon can maybe hold us up a little bit better, but Apple's definitely going to be dragging us down a little bit lower here.
Yeah, it's definitely a scary sight. But speaking of Amazon, they are holding up a lot better than Apple, so what's the story with them?
Yeah, like you said earlier, they had that 11% year-over-year revenue beat, which is actually really good. I'm glad to see that with Amazon, and whenever I go through here, their EPS was amazing. Came in at 65 cents a share, and it says on here that it may not compare with the 35 cents per share expectation by Refinitiv, but that is a huge beat there over that expectation. And the revenue, $134.4 billion versus $131.5 billion there. The web services, advertising, all came in good. And man, Mike, whenever I scroll down here and I start reading through just everything that Amazon's talked about, it's an amazing site because they do so many stuff. We have to keep in mind they're even involved with AI more than we think too, with AWS and other parts of their company that obviously people don't think of. A lot of people just think of them as a shopping company, but their web services are, I think, even bigger than the shopping, or at least they used to be.
So yeah, they're pretty big into their Amazon Web Services, and like you said, that has also helped them with like the AI hype as well. But either way, regardless of earnings, there are two stocks to watch tomorrow in pre-market. That is Apple and that is Amazon. These stocks are powerhouses, and even if the market is trying to run up by itself, if these two stocks are down, it can be nasty. But at the same time, even if the market's relatively weak tomorrow, if these stocks are holding up in a good way or even rising like Amazon is now, they can directly lift the market higher.
Yeah, they can. And what I'm curious of, Mike, is like Amazon is doing so well right now. When we have Apple starting to fall down, if they kind of go against each other, I'm curious if that'll make the SPY kind of go flat. Like if we'll end up like maybe in the middle there. And I'm curious if that'll happen or not. But it's definitely sad to see Apple falling down like this. And those numbers are just not what you would expect out of the biggest company in the in the market. But, Apple and all these other stocks have been up so much lately. They're starting to fall under some big supports. Maybe it's time to, finally get into some nice put opportunities to the downside. And I'll definitely be eyeing that up on Apple and a few other stocks. It sounds weird to say I might try to short Apple, Mike. They're one of the most unshortable stocks out there, but they're so overextended right now. And if they continue on this downtrend, it's hard not to.
Tom, prepare for hate comments down below. Why would you short Apple? This thing only goes up, blah, 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 blah. So, sometimes stocks fall too. That's something that is worth noting. But looking at some other earnings for today, my baby DraftKings had a great reaction so far. They crushed EPS and sales, in my opinion. They're running to the upside in a major way, and, they had a positive adjusted EPS too. So I love to see this. The true OGs to StockedUp know that I've been talking about this stock for a long time. I plan to hold this stock for many, many years, and I love to see bullish earnings reports like this.
Yeah, I'll be holding it for many years as well. I love this stock, and I was a little bit worried that they might fall down, with being over the summertime. There's like no football, no basketball, anything like that, but it looks like the EPS did amazing. It came in at 14 cents per share, beating a negative 25-cent per share estimate. That beat that estimate by like well over 100% there. And then the sales beat too, coming in at 874.93 million versus 759.55 million expected there. So I love that with DraftKings, and they're actually this year finally going to be seeing profitability, Mike, and next year they're expecting to be profitable for the whole year. So I'm loving that with DraftKings. I'm hoping this continues, and when you go out to a daily chart of them, they are just looking so strong here in the short term. This recovery has been fantastic, Mike. Like, there's a lot of growth stocks that are still stuck down in the dumps, but I'm glad a few of them, like DraftKings, Palantir, and a couple others, are coming back well.
Love to see it. So, Tom, it's now time to dive deep into the news that everyone has been waiting for, and that is what is going on with the stock market and Elon Musk. Normally when you think of Elon, you think some, bold Twitter comments, or I should say now X comments, but you might also think of, AI or Tesla or stuff like that. No one really thinks of stock trading. It's kind of weird, but long story short, he is planning on making X a hub for users to trade stocks. So that's great to see. So far there haven't been any major developments just yet, but to me, I can see something like this happening, maybe in like a year or 2 years, something like that. There's a lot of regulations when it comes to this stuff, but either way, it's very interesting.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Mike, if he comes out with this, I'm not saying I'm going to fully switch over, but I will definitely be making an account on there ASAP, and let me know in the comments if you guys will as well. I think that would go over very, very well. And what I really like about this is I know a lot of people are pissed about Elon changing the name from Twitter to X and rebranding it, right? But what I'm seeing here is that he's trying to make more of like a super app, or an app that you can do anything on. So you could tweet on there. You could maybe trade stocks like we're talking about. You could maybe even buy groceries or buy things, purchases, kind of like you do on Amazon. So I feel like that it's a very smart thing he's doing there, and I think it'll be really good for them in the longer term. But I don't know. I love it, Mike. Like I said, let me know in the comments down below if you guys will sign up for it. Personally, if and when it does come out, I would definitely be making an account.
There we go. And, as you said, basically Elon is looking to create a super app in a lot of ways where in Asia, you can rent vehicles, buy groceries, trade, do basically everything you possibly need on one app. And that's kind of what it looks like Elon's trying to do. So too bad we can't invest into X or Twitter just yet, but maybe one day we'll see an IPO from them.
Yeah, I mean, that would be really funny. I know that Twitter, it's too bad that they went off the market, Mike. Could you imagine the hype around them today if they were still on the market? It might be up 50% right now in after hours.
There we go. So I came across some pretty interesting data today. Basically what we can see on the table right now is showing, what happens to the market when it sees a 1% drop after 2 months without one. And we could see that most of the time when you see a 1% drop, the market climbs higher after that. But it's also worth noting that most of the time the market climbs higher anyways. You can pick any random situation or date or whatever in the S&P 500, and most of the time it goes up, right? So that's no surprise. But what's interesting is that this is the first 1% drop that we've seen, or first 1% drop after more than 2 months without one, than we've seen in a while. The last time this happened was January 27th of 2020, and a month after, the market ended up falling by like 3.9%, and 3 months after, it ended up falling by 11.3%. But besides that, most of the time, these situations are bullish. Either way, it's interesting data, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of it, Mike, necessarily. I hope that we continue to see, the market move up, but then at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm sitting here like, well, these stocks are so overextended, they have to come down at some point. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that we'll see a little bit of a drop with this. And it's interesting that in 2020, that was like right before all the big COVID drops and stuff, was like right when we started seeing that. So hopefully that's not forecasting bad things to come. But if it is, I'll be prepared. I'll be keeping my eyes on SQQQ and some of those other fun stocks.
There we go. And even looking at like a chart of this data, most of the time the market does rise, but we'll see what happens. And I'm kind of in the same boat with you where like I can see a pullback coming for sure. Do I think the market's going to fall by 30%? Absolutely not. Do I think the market's going to fall by 15%? There's a chance, but probably not. But like I can definitely see like a, 5 to like 8% pullback somewhat soon. But again, we'll see what happens, and it's important to trade the market on like a day-by-day basis. New news is always coming out. New earnings have a giant impact, and if you can't adapt, you can't survive in this market.
Yeah, you really can't. And look at Apple right now, all the way down to 188 now, just continuing to sell off to the downside. Let's pray that Amazon holding up a little bit better, and it looks like they are still. So at least that's a good sign. But had to check back in, Mike. I mean, man, Apple's looking brutal. I'm definitely going to be worried about a continuation to the downside tomorrow. It's weird with both of those stocks going in both ways, but the SPY looks like it's kind of going more red, which would make sense considering Apple has more of a weighting.
Exactly. So good point there. But Tom, let's crack right into some setups for tomorrow. One stock I'm watching very closely is UVXY. This thing rises a ton when there's panic and fear in the market. And I think there is a risk of the market falling more. And if we see that same level of panic that we saw yesterday, this can definitely boom.
Yeah, I think so too. I love trading these stocks right now. I know that today, UVXY, SQQQ, other stocks like that didn't do too well. But I think that tomorrow and over the next few days, as the market starts to digest more of these earnings, we'll start to see bigger drops, especially with how Apple is going on, and that'll make UVXY move to the upside. But man, Mike, I know a lot of stocks are going down right now, right? A lot of people are looking at puts. There is one part of the market right now that really is running to the upside, and that is the China stocks. I don't know what's going on with these, but I'll take the movement, especially out of stocks like NEO, LI, XPEV. Like those stocks were on fire today. So if I see NEO continuing to break out tomorrow, and if they break above that high around 1580, which is a pretty big double top up here, I'll look for a nice continuation. I think these China stocks are kind of inversing the market here, which doesn't always make sense, but it's good that they don't follow the SPY.
Exactly. They kind of just do whatever the hell they want, which is good in this market. So good stuff there. Another stock I'm watching very closely is UPWK or Upwork. Again, a lot of the people that have been following us for a while know that I've been a fan of this stock, and it's also a stock that I plan to hold on to for a long time. They had great earnings. The stock is up by like 40%. They're moving with some power, and as long as the market isn't like falling off a cliff tomorrow, there is potential for an earnings continuation with this one. Just watch around that like $14.50 level.
Yeah, this thing looks hot, Mike. I love the way it closed too, running up to back to the high and sitting right there. That's almost like a perfect like breakout trade for tomorrow if we break that high. So I'll definitely be watching it. And I'm looking at another stock to the upside tomorrow, CCJ. They're actually running back up. Your big uranium stock here. I noticed there's a resistance right around $34. This is a stock Mike talks about a lot, but if they end up breaking out here tomorrow, I think that they could move up. I like uranium. It's another one of those things that kind of does whatever the hell it wants, and I like it in that sense, especially in this type of market.
For sure. And, just touching on like some psychology going into tomorrow, it is very important to realize that the market we're in right now is not the same market that we've been seeing over the past 2 weeks and the past month and the past year. The market is always changing. And like I said a couple minutes ago in the video, if you can't adapt, you can't survive. So looking at the market right now, what some main differences that we are seeing is, stocks aren't just going up endlessly every single day. Like, it is a very strong warning sign when you see Apple, the most important company in the entire market, falling on earnings to this magnitude, and also seeing revenue, not even earnings, but revenue decline on a year-over-year basis. So, just keep in mind the market's changing right now. Strategies that might have worked over the past year might slow down. So keep that in mind going forward. Even if today was super choppy, that's okay. Keep your head up high. Do everything you can to make tomorrow the best day possible. And a big thing with that is keeping your position sizing, what I'll call smart. If you're going super heavily into any trade, it's very stressful in this market because volatility is increasing. So keep those positions, good, but, don't get too crazy is what I'm trying to say. And if you do that and you make some good selections, I think the next couple weeks can be pretty awesome.
Yeah, exactly. You never want to go in too much because then you might wake up to a bad disaster, like where you get wiped out of like a majority of your account or something like that. Don't let that happen. They say that the best traders out there, and the reason why some of the better traders succeed is because they are able to mitigate losses better than other people. Always keep those stop losses there. Make sure you're getting in and out at the right times, especially if you're a day trader. It's very important to, not get caught in some of those trades, Mike. And over the next few weeks, we're going to see some fun ones. I think like SQQQ, UVXY, some of those stocks are going to be really fun to trade. But then again, they're leveraged stocks. They're going to be hard though. It's all about timing with those ones.
Yep. All right, Tom. Well, it's now time for the momentum plays. And with the first one, we have WBD to the upside. And this stock is the stock behind like the Barbie and Oppenheimer movies.
Oh, that's really cool here. Yeah, if they end up breaking above $13, go ahead and watch it. That could be amazing with Barbie and Oppenheimer going on here. I know Barbie's been doing very, very well. Same with the other one. And I got to go see him, to be honest, Mike. I haven't seen him yet.
True. All right. With the next one, we have AI to the downside.
AI, yeah, pretty bad move today. If they break under 38.50, which is right around recent support, then go ahead and look at it down.
All right, and then with the last one, we have Queb or KWEB for both directions.
Queb, yeah, nice here. China stock, if they break above that 31.10 area, just above 31, then go ahead and look at some calls. If they end up breaking under $30.50, then go ahead and look at puts.
All right, so we have that downside level for Queb, and we have the upside level as well. If it breaks below the downside one, we're looking at puts. If it breaks above the upside one, we're looking at calls. Don't forget about AI with the downside level as well. And then after AI, don't forget about WBD with the upside level as well for that one. But with that being said, it is time to jump right into the big money trade of the day. Today we are looking at a $1.2 million trade with PDD. Essentially, someone dumped $1.2 million into the PDD 88 strike calls that expire on August 18th of 2023. This is a China stock, so it's extra volatile, and you have to keep that in mind if you decide to trade it. I like how China stocks just do whatever they want with the market, and they don't really care what the overall market's doing, so that's a good thing in this market. At the same time, I'm not necessarily like extremely bullish on China stocks for the short term unless we get some more momentum. So to me, this trade's okay. It's not bad. I just don't think it's like a 10 out of 10.
Yeah, and we had another big money play come into this one on Monday, July 24th, Mike. And I'll say it was the 64 strike calls. And this was all the way whenever PDD was down here where I'm circling on the chart. So keep in mind, these big money plays on these China stocks have been doing very, very well lately. Keep your eyes on the 88 strike here. I like it. It's right around the money. Have a lot of good momentum today. And I would think on the daily chart, just looking at it, Mike, like we might be able to come up and retest 92.50, if not even maybe $100 sometime soon. That would be big if we could start to get back up there on PDD. But we're definitely seeing a lot of big money plays here recently, and they're starting to pop off pretty well.
No doubt about that. Well, I'm very excited for tomorrow. We finally had the two powerhouse stocks, Apple and Amazon, report earnings, and now it is game time. So far, Apple's not looking too good. Amazon's holding up okay, but tomorrow I'm pretty excited. We should see some pretty nice moves. Tom, do you have any final thoughts or anything else you're watching for tomorrow?
Yeah, if you guys are out there watching SPY and you're like saying, well, hey, what's a good level on this one for tomorrow? Maybe watch like 447.50. You know, that's actually right around the low of today. If we get under there, that would be a pretty good spot probably. There's been a lot of bounces down there around that 447.50 to 448 level. So if we do break under there, maybe that'll be a good time to long SQQQ, SPXS, some of those other stocks if you just don't want to hop in. But it's definitely going to be a big day, Mike. I'm kind of looking for stocks to be down. I'm hoping Apple, oh man, it's rough with them. I'm hoping they don't fall too much.
No doubt. If you guys are new to the channel, destroy that subscribe button. When you do, you'll see our videos recommended to you more often. And last but not least, we want to give a giant shout out to our member of the day, Got My Sneaks on YouTube. So thank you so much for the support. We really appreciate you. And Tom, this might be one of my favorite member of the day names that we've seen in a little bit.
Yeah, I like it. You know, to be honest, that's an awesome one. So I appreciate the comments, though. So thanks for being a great part of the community. And yeah, that name's gonna go down in the books. That's for sure.
There we go. Well, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's crush the market tomorrow.